Simple Tales presents The Woodcutter and the Heavenly Maiden from Korean folklore. Long ago, in a valley surrounded by green mountains and silver streams, there lived a poor young woodcutter. Each day he climbed into the forest before sunrise, gathering firewood to sell in the nearby village. Though he worked hard, he remained poor. Yet he was known for his kindness. He never harmed animals, shared what little food he had, and offered help whenever he could. One summer afternoon, while returning home through the forest, the woodcutter heard desperate cries. Following the sound, he found a frightened deer cornered by a hunter. The deer trembled with fear as the hunter drew closer. Without hesitation, the woodcutter stepped between them and guided the deer into a hidden thicket where it could escape. The grateful deer turned to him before disappearing into the trees. "You have saved my life," it said. "One day I will repay your kindness."
The woodcutter was astonished, for he had never heard an animal speak. But before he could ask any questions, the deer vanished into the forest. Many months later, the deer appeared again. It told the woodcutter of a secret pond high in the mountains, where heavenly maidens descended from the skies to bathe. Their magical robes allowed them to fly between heaven and earth. The deer explained that if the woodcutter hid one of the robes, the maiden who owned it would be unable to return to heaven. The woodcutter was troubled by the idea, yet he was lonely, and the thought of meeting a heavenly maiden filled his heart with wonder. After much hesitation, he followed the deer's directions and climbed to the hidden pond. There, beneath the shade of ancient trees, he saw a sight more beautiful than anything he had ever imagined. Heavenly maidens descended upon clouds of light. Their robes shimmered like moonlit silk as they danced above the water. Laughing and singing, they laid their robes beside the pond and entered the crystal clear water.
The woodcutter carefully hid one robe among the rocks. When the maidens finished bathing, they dressed and rose into the sky one by one. But one maiden searched frantically along the shore. "My robe is gone!" she cried. The others searched with her, but the robe could not be found. At last, the heavenly maidens were forced to leave without her. Alone beside the pond, the maiden wept. The woodcutter stepped from his hiding place and offered her comfort. He confessed what he had done and begged her forgiveness. Though saddened and unable to return home, the maiden saw sincerity in his heart. Over time, she came to know his gentle nature. The years passed. The heavenly maiden and the woodcutter built a life together. They married and had children. Their home was filled with laughter, and for many years they lived happily among the mountains. Yet deep within her heart, the maiden never forgot heaven. Sometimes she would gaze at the stars and wonder about her sisters. Sometimes she would listen to the wind and imagine the songs of the celestial world she had left behind. One day, while cleaning the house, she discovered the hidden robe. The moment her fingers touched the enchanted silk, its magic awakened. Light flowed through the fabric like starlight across a river, The woodcutter returned home and saw the robe in her hands. Fear filled his heart. The maiden looked at him with sadness rather than anger. "I have loved you," she said, "and I love our children, but heaven is still my home." With tears in her eyes, she put on the robe. At once, she rose into the sky with her children and disappeared among the clouds. The woodcutter cried out and followed as far as he could, but they vanished beyond his reach. For many years he wandered the mountains, grieving their loss. At last, the grateful deer appeared once more. Seeing the woodcutter's sorrow, the deer offered to help. Through magical means, the woodcutter was carried to heaven, where he was reunited with his wife and children. For a time, he lived happily among the celestial beings. But heaven was not the same as earth. One day, he was given a magical horse and warned never to ride it back toward the mortal world. Yet longing to see his old home overcame his caution. As he rode near the earth below, he looked down at the mountains and valleys he had once known. The horse suddenly descended, and before he could stop it, he was separated from the heavenly realm. Some versions of the tale say he never returned to heaven again. Others say the Heavenly Maiden continued to watch over him from the stars. Even today, when people gaze into the night sky, they remember the story of the woodcutter and the Heavenly Maiden, a tale of kindness, love, longing, and the difficult choices that lie between two worlds. Love can bring different worlds together, but true love cannot flourish without freedom and trust. If you enjoyed this tale, please like, subscribe, and share Simple Tales. There are many more legends waiting to be told.